Hey y'all, I'm Pearl.
And I'm Holly, and this is Hold My Sweet Tea. Welcome. Welcome to Hold My Sweet Tea, the podcast where we sip tea and uncover hidden secrets and chilling crimes lurking beneath the surface of Southern hospitality.
That is right. Along with spooky tales and haunted history that give the South its eerie charm.
Woo! We've been playing around with our microphone to give you guys a little more quality sound. So we've been having some jokes and some fun with our introduction, so we get it right.
Yeah, we're goofing off this morning.
Yes. I think it's due to my delirium of having a 6-month-old kitten, and he keeps waking me up at 3 and 4 o'clock every morning.
He's doing that with the door open,
Yep.
so he has like free reign.
He has free range of the house, but still he's like, I think, my mom needs to get up and pay attention to me, so he just like parkours off of me and everything in the room.
I saw a reel. Did I send it to you?
No, I sent it to you, and
it
it was hilarious. Okay. And the cat's like, get up. He's like, I was doing fine at the shelter. You're the one that adopted me.
Yeah, you came and got me from that shelter.
Right, and I'm like, that's how I feel. And I told him, I was like, I'm taking you back to the shelter. No, I'm not. I love you.
Silly kitty.
He'll grow out of it, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, well.
Yeah, you have a cat.
I have a cat that's almost 4, and she literally, it's a little later. It's like 5.
Right.
But then she comes and lays on my chest and starts making biscuits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you do it without the claws?
Like, even if he would make biscuits, that would be fine, but he just wants to jump on me constantly.
Yeah, but she's a weirdo.
Right.
And she'll lay there and she'll make the biscuits, and then if you don't wake up and, like, start petting her, then she gets up there and she starts licking you on the chin.
Yeah.
Or on your nose, or an eyelid. Somewhere weird.
And then she starts clawing you with the biscuits.
Wake up.
Those are the murder biscuits.
Yeah. Those are, I'm going to kill you in your sleep if you don't wake up and pet me.
Right.
Biscuits.
All the biscuits. So I'm hoping, when we change the time for springing forward, that'll trick my cat into wait until at least 4:30 or 5:30 to wake me up every morning.
Yeah, then maybe you'll have some sleep.
I just need sleep.
Well, I mean, I spent my day yesterday driving 8 hours before I ever even started my work day. 2.5 hours sleep the night before.
I know. I felt so bad for you, and in the rain, which was gross.
Yeah. I didn't even eat dinner last night. Yeah. I was just like, bleh, I'm going to sleep.
Straight to bed.
I was like taking my shoes off, and I'm going, no, I'm not eating food. I grabbed a bottle of water, put my PJs on, and went and passed out.
Good idea.
Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about, for this little mini-sode, water affecting evidence in a crime situation.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. So obviously everybody's going to consider, water's going to wash it all away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is significant degradation and contamination, and it can rapidly break down crucial components like DNA, fingerprints, and, other trace evidence. But there's been like lots of advancements and stuff. So I feel like it's important to talk about those, because I don't want anybody thinking that just because they put their crime in the water,
right,
they're not going to get caught.
They're like, this is just going to wash everything away. It'll be fine. No fingerprints, nothing.
Right, exactly. It's like, no. We still checking this stuff.
Right.
All right. So, I mean, obviously it does make it more difficult to collect and analyze useful information from the scene. The longer it's submerged, the more compromised it does become. This is especially true for environments that have like bacteria and organic matter present. So depending on the type of water, the effects can vary as far as how degraded or contaminated the evidence may be. Obviously, stagnant and contaminated water will rapidly degrade DNA molecules, so it adds a challenge to the extraction of usable DNA to create a profile from like bodily fluids or blood. Water can smudge fingerprints and distort latent fingerprints, making them difficult to lift and analyze. The trace evidence can be dispersed, which could make it difficult to collect those fibers and hairs and other particles, and even harder to link it to a suspect, only because, like the flow of the water. So that, like, you get put in, all this stuff is in a rushing, like you throw a knife away from the crime, and it had maybe some fibers from clothes or something on it from when you were stabbing the person. It literally could just get like rushed off of the knife and be like further down the stream than even the knife is at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of it gets lost that way. The quality of water, like fresh versus salt, the temperature, and obviously, like I've said, the presence of bacteria can further affect the rate of evidence degradation. It's important for law enforcement to understand how to manage water exposed evidence. Perfect world, it would be great if you could, it would be like immediate collection.
Yes.
Because the faster you get it out, the better you are. But it's also important to know the proper containers. Some of the things will require special drying techniques before analysis. There's also special techniques used for collection and preservation. So, according to the NIH and the National Library of Medicine, a study was conducted on retrieval and storage methods of evidence
evidence
found in water. Sorry. My tongue is twisty.
It's okay. We all stumble over words. I do it all the time. So if you see a body in the water, stop, walk away, call the police, don't try to remove it.
Yeah, definitely don't.
Because then, you've just disrupted the entire crime scene.
Yeah, well, not just that. Have you ever seen those people that do like magnet fishing?
Yes.
And they constantly are like pulling up guns and all of that stuff and having to call the cops immediately for that stuff. But it's like crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to disturb it.
But that is also a disruption to the gun. Like how now it's just lost a bunch of stuff because this magnet.
Right.
Yanking it up out of the water. So who knows? But that stuff is interesting. The junk they find in there. And also, ew.
Exactly. I was like, ooh, that's gross. I know, I've seen them pull a cauldron out of a lake one time. It looked like a cauldron, and it was like packed with stuff and like kind of sealed. And I'm like, bro, you better put that back right now.
Yeah, I know.
Do not touch it.
Cursey curse amongst that.
Right?
No. Leave it in the water.
Right.
The study showed that extracting the evidence from the water as soon as possible and immediate storage through air drying or freezing before DNA analysis is beneficial for the outcome of the DNA profiling and crime scene investigation.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you never would think, like, let's freeze it.
Yeah, freeze it, and then, But so it kind of, like, seals it in its state of where it was so you can examine.
Which I thought was
neat.
Was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The DNA used in the study was from 3 male individuals, and they used epithelial cells, or touch DNA, fingerprints, blood, and some plucked hairs. I'm sure they enjoyed that part.
Right.
The objects that they used for this study were smartphones, knives, garbage bags, packing tapes, and duct tapes because of the glue being a little bit different. They just kind of wanted to try both kinds. All the objects were cleaned and decontaminated by submersion in a surface disinfectant that I'm not even about to butcher the name of because it's long and weird.
Right.
But anyway, they put it in that for 20 minutes and then it was rinsed and air dried before they deposited the biological materials. They were submerged in a lake in Stockholm. And they were submerged for different times. And once they were retrieved, they used 4 different storage methods. So they air dried at room temperature, the freezing at like negative 30 degrees Celsius. They dried some things in a container with nitrogen gas. And then they even just left some of it submerged in the lake water from the dive site. So they just like took some of it with them and left it in there.
So kind of like the body farms, like the one that started in Tennessee, and now they've got several all over the place. They're using this as a testing ground to for forensics.
It showed most of the DNA recovered from air dry or freezing method were close to the same amount using both methods. So basically, those 2 methods were the best methods to use to preserve what was there. The longer the items were in the water, it became more difficult to collect the DNA, but it was still best recovered despite being degraded when air dried or frozen. So the article that I read is on phys.org. It's an article that shows that forensic evidence can survive underwater for weeks. They literally think, like it's been common practice, that stuff couldn't survive longer than 7 days as far as like the DNA and all of that. But this study that was done shows that it actually survives longer in the water than previously thought. So a lot of times, like if it were in water for longer than 7 days, they could tell it was in there for longer than 7 days.
Right.
They just wouldn't even try. They would just not try to pull anything from any of it.
They were like, it's been
7 days.
Too long. Yeah.
There's no way I'm getting anything out of this. But this study was done, and they're like, oh, no, you should still do it. This study was led by Staffordshire University Center for Crime, Justice, and Security, and they found that fiber evidence especially can survive on fabrics underwater for several weeks. Claire Gwinnett, professor of forensics and environmental science, explained, evidence such as a weapon or a victim's body are often found in aquatic environments, including rivers and lakes. However, if items have been submerged in the water for more than 7 days, then many forensics examiners believe that any valuable trace evidence will be gone and won't seek it out. To date, very few studies have investigated fiber persistence on fabrics submerged underwater. The dynamic nature of aquatic environments means that the studies are difficult to conduct, and variables such as water flow rate are not possible to control. So in this study, they used artificial streams so that they had some control of flow and things of that nature, despite, how in nature, obviously, we're not in control of those things. But they wanted to kind of just see different flow rates and the persistence of like polyester fibers on different fabric types over like a 4-week exposure time. So they're looking at stuff that sat in the water for a month.
Oh, wow.
So that's significantly longer.
Absolutely. Because, you might find this missing person that you're looking for a month later in the water, so...
Or something close to it. Much like my Chandra May case, 22 days later.
Right, almost a month.
We don't know how long she was in the water, because, obviously that evidence got all messed up. But there could have possibly been a lot of stuff there still at that point. So this is actually like the first time they've ever used these artificial streams for studying forensic evidence.
Yes.
They're usually used for ecological research. So they did like just 2 flow velocities. They did like a really high flow and a low flow. And they used like woolen nylon mixed carpet, 100% polyester fleece, and 95% polyester / 5% elastin sports vest. Initial loss rates were highest for the first hour of submergence for the carpet fleece and the sports vest. However, persistent rates remained mostly constant after 24 hours. So basically, the flow rates didn't affect it after the initial loss.
Oh, okay.
So it was still viable evidence.
Yeah.
And there was no change in it for 24 hours.
So it's kind of like the surface part where it can get it off there. So it's kind of like you have a bowl in the sink and you're trying to rinse it out and it gets that one stuck piece in there and you just keep rinsing it and rinsing it and rinsing it. And no matter what you do, it won't come out until you like literally touch it and make it move with like a scrubby pad or something. So that's basically the surface part's rinsed off and then whatever's left just sticks there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So even after 4 weeks, the lowest percentage of remaining fibers was 33.4%. This clearly indicates that it's extremely valuable to research.
All situations.
The effects on other stuff. So, hey, you can still test the evidence.
Yes.
A month later. Professor Gwinnett said, our findings could change how police direct investigations and help to uncover forensic evidence that was previously thought to be lost. We hope this will help investigators to identify more suspects and ultimately lead to more convictions. She also said the study also highlights the benefits of using artificial streams mimicking realistic aquatic environments in a controlled setting. This is the first time that artificial streams have been used to look at forensic evidence, and we hope it will pave the way for further studies to investigate different types of trace evidence, such as gunshot residue, pollen, fingerprints, or DNA.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I mean, it's crazy to know.
Yeah, unless you live in Northern Europe and you have peat bogs, because they found human remains that have been naturally preserved in those peat bogs, and like all of their soft tissue and everything is completely intact. They still kind of look the same, and their bodies and their hair get this red tint because of the peat like the peat moss and everything. And the bodies are preserved by the cool, acidic, and low oxygen environments in the bog. So,
that's cool.
I know. I was like, somebody throws you in a peat bog,
it's
all preserved. Right.
They are in trouble.
Exactly. It kind of mummifies them pretty much.
Yeah. But it's just crazy to think that this is an article from 2023. Mm-hmm. So up until now, we've only been going,
it's too late.
It's too late. Not looking at it. I mean, I'm sure there are investigators who are like, test it anyway. I have no doubt that that's happening. But to think that there are investigators out there going, it's been longer than 7 days, it's worthless to us.
If we can find something on the, the land and try to get something from that, a shoe or a glove or something, but it's in the water. We can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Anybody who thinks like all hope is lost.
Right.
Because you were found in water, or it was found in water, or whatever. It is not.
Right. So,
there is hope.
So murderers beware. Just by throwing it in the water, a body or evidence, all is not lost.
No, all is definitely not lost. I think they think the same premise with fire.
Yeah, you just burn something and it's gone. But
No. Still not gone. It's crazy to me that the amount of things that you can still find.
And I'm sure they've done tests on that too, like burning certain things like cadavers and things like that to see how things take place. And then you get like a forensic anthropologist in there that can test the bones and see.
And maybe that can be another mini-sode.
Yeah, it could be. If we have something with fire, yep.
Yeah. We can research that.
Yes. We research it for you so you don't have to Google everything.
That's kind of the point of these little things. It's just like little tidbits of cool info.
Mm-hmm.
Not encouraging words for the land of crime.
Not at all. We're trying to decrime you.
Yes.
Behave.
Give me nothing to talk about.
Exactly. Behave. Stop being see you next Tuesday.
A TW-OT.
Yes. Get that too. And we're hoping that, this is our second mini-sode, so we're hoping that you're really enjoying these, and we're not writing any certain thing on them. We're just winging it and kind of getting it out there. So, we might ramble a bit, but we're just trying to, get some knowledge in your noggin.
Educate and entertain.
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and I made notes for this one, but and that's why I said I'm going to read from that article on phys.org, and I'll put the link in show notes so that anybody else who wants to go read the whole thing can. I just took the pieces out that I felt like were the most important.
Yes.
And there's plenty more in there.
So go read it.
Yeah, you can go read it.
If you're interested in that.
Yeah. Or don't, because I told you everything that was super important in there. But you're welcome to read it anyway. If you've got time on your hands.
You got some time. We have no time, but we create extra time somehow because we're wizards, and
or we don't sleep,
or we just don't sleep because we want to entertain and get some cool cases out there. And
it's cool. It's fun for us. We like it.
Yeah, this is something we definitely are enjoying, and it's not like one of our little ventures where we're working our behinds off and not making any progress. This is
So definitely make sure you guys tell us what you think, because we don't want to do anything that seems boring to anyone else. Because if we don't have listeners, what's the point?
Absolutely. Get on our website and let us know. Email us. Yeah, comment on something, but just don't be mean.
Yeah, if you get on the website, I'll activate. There's a little thing I can put on there for fan mail.
Yes.
So if you get on the website, you can definitely use the fan mail option. I'll make sure that that's up today.
You know what? I'm going to cry, and I never cry. If we have fans, I'm going to be like, oh my God, we have fans?
And not the kind that blow air on you.
Exactly. Oh my God.
I swear. I'm an idiot.
No, we always laugh. It's fine.
Right. So thank you for joining us on Hold My Sweet Tea. All sources used to create this episode can be found in the show notes. The music for this episode was created by Patty Salzetta at Salzetta Music, I think is what she uses for that stuff. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. You can follow us on Facebook, Hold My Sweet Tea, Instagram at Hold My Sweet Tea _podcast, TikTok, Hold My Sweet Tea podcast, the interwebs, holdmysweettea.com, YouTube at Hold My Sweet Tea podcast. We are all over the Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music now. Go like us there.
You have no excuses. You just everywhere
there. Waiting for Pandora approval, so it'll be on Pandora also. So it's spreading like wildfire.
Not like a disease.
No,
like wildfire.
Wildfire. God. Right. Hold My Sweet Tea, the disease podcast. Catch it.
It's not like herpes.
No. You can choose to get rid of it.
Exactly.
If you have a case you would like to be covered, or even a ghost story or a cool piece of Southern folklore, please email us at steeped, STEEPED, at holdmysweettea.com.
I just love the way you enunciate. It's amazing.
Thanks.
So follow us everywhere so you don't miss a single thing. Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production. I'm still going to laugh at that. Y'all remember to stay safe out there. And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping. Bye.
Bye.